Bella here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new here. In today's video, we are going to go a little bit deeper with Chrome Developer Tools. We are going to see what we can do with the Network tab in a more advanced way. And I'm going to show how it looks like, what are the parts of this tab, what you can see in the Networks tab, and we are going to go through some processes, some stuff you can do with it. But before anything, don't forget to like this video if you like this topic, if you like this kind of videos, and subscribe to the channel, please. It really helps me out. It helps with the algorithms. Don't miss the chance. Just subscribe to the channel, help me out, and let's get going with it. Okay, so in the first video, we saw an overview about the Chrome Developer Tools. And the most commonly used features, what you can basically do, how you can see the elements, how you can change the styles, the CSS styles, play around and do some prototyping on the run before you really edit your code to test out some solutions for your issues, for your problems, to see what works, what doesn't for your code. And now we are going to dive a little bit deeper. We are going to check out some more details specifically about the Network tab. So we use the Network panel when we want to make sure that every resource that we need for our web page is being properly downloaded and uploaded properly in the page. So basically, the Network panel is very important for us to see if all the resources that we need to load into our page is being properly downloaded, or if we are sending some request, if that request is being sent properly, if the server is not returning an error message or anything. So we can see the responses as well, like the HTTP headers. We can see how big this file is and how long it takes to load, to see if we can do some improvement regarding the speed of the page load itself. Okay, so once we have the panel open, just like this, we have to reload the page to see the activity analysis. On the top here, you can see a summary of the activity in a timeline and for each resource. You can also click and drag your mouse here, and you can select a specific region of time that you want to see what resources were taking so long, for instance, to be loaded. So if you select from here to here, you will see that only these resources are the ones that were being loaded into the page. And down here, each row in this log represents a resource that is being downloaded or uploaded by the page. Each of these columns gives a certain information. For instance, the first one is the name of the resource, and if you actually hover your mouse on top of it, it's going to show you the full URL of that resource, and if you double click, it's going to take you directly there. Then we have the HTTP response, which is always good. If it's 200, it means that it was successful. It made the request to the server for that resource and received OK, and the resource is being sent and downloaded and it's working. It's in your page working properly. Then we have the resource file type, which can be an image, it can be a script, it can be JSON files if you're using for text or whatever. The next one is the initiator, and this is what caused that respective resource to be requested. So clicking the initiator is going to take you to the part of the code that caused this request. For instance, let's say that once your user click a certain button, it's going to call for an image. So this initiator would be the button, and it's going to take you for the code where this button was implemented. And then we have the time column that shows you how long this request took. And finally, the waterfall, which is a graphical representation of the different stages of the request, like requesting and approving and getting it back, and so on and so forth. You can also hover this waterfall so you can see like a breakdown, specifically how long each step took. And actually all these columns, they are personalizable, so you can right click on here and you can check it out, all the types of columns that you can activate it or deactivate it. For instance, if there's something there that you don't use, you can just hide it, and you can also select another one that you need. These ones are just the default ones, but as I said, you can just personalize as you want. For instance, let's say that we want to see the domain. This domain column is going to show you the domain of each of those resources. For instance, you see that something is failing and you're not sure where it's coming from. You can just use this column to understand if that comes from you, or if you're requesting from someone else's server or another third party, whatever. So this can be pretty useful in these cases. You can also simulate different connection speeds. So you can, for instance, test how long does your page take if the person is trying to access it from a mobile phone using 3G connection, for instance. To do that, you just have to click here in the throttling option, and let's select, for instance, 3G is low 3G, and reload the page to see the new log. Actually, if you press and hold the button of reload of the browser, you're going to see that there's an option to empty the cache and hard reload it. And this is very useful if you want to have the first time user experience in your page, because what happens is some images, for instance, or some content is always stored in the cache, so that when you return to this page, it's going to load much faster. But if you do this hard reload, everything is going to be cleaned out. So it's going to be as you had to download every single resource once again from the start. So this is pretty useful, and I really recommend using that. And don't forget to remove your cache. And sometimes you might have some problems, like you did an update and you cannot see it, and that's because the resource didn't change, for instance, the name. And your page just kept that resource in the cache, and it's not being downloaded a new version of it, so you won't see the difference. So you can see that it takes a very long time. This page is like huge. This page takes more than a whole minute to load all of its resources on Slow 3D. That's insane. That's a page that is pretty much optimized for desktop use, right? It's a lot of content behind the scenes, a lot of huge images and stuff, and it takes a very long time. And what's pretty interesting in this page is actually you can see something that is even after the page is completely loaded, you're going to see that you can still see some requests that are constantly being done, and that's from a widget from the Twitter widget that they have on the page. So it's constantly looking for new updates, for new messages that is going to display in your page. So if you clicked on top here, you see this is the resource that is being reloaded after some time again and again. And I'm going to click and drag to select only this one, and then we can see down here what this is about. And as you can see, it's the Twitter call for the server to request new data that can be displayed on the page. Okay, something that is also pretty cool are the screenshots. You can just click here to activate the screenshots, and they will be taken during the page load. So you can see what your users are going to see while your page is being loaded. If you notice, for instance, that it takes 5 seconds for the user to see anything, if it's just like a blank screen, for a lot of time. 5 seconds can be pretty much a lot for a mobile. I don't know, if you're loading something, you might think, yeah, this is not working, I'll just leave it. So by seeing this kind of screenshot, you can then think about putting like a loading, a spinner, or maybe these modules that are gray and they just like simulate what's coming, you know, just to give your user something to look at while they wait, and it doesn't feel that long. That's a technique, because if you just look to a blank page, those 5 seconds might feel like an eternity, you know. So if you have a little bit of interaction with your user, it's going to make them not feel that it's taking so long to load your page. When you click on a resource, you can see then more details about it. For instance, in the first tab there, you can see some information about the HTTP headers, In the preview tab, you see a basic rendering of the HTML. In the response tab, you can see the response HTML code. And sometimes the response is actually minified and it's hard to read. You know, it comes in a single line, a lot of code, one after the others, like a mess or no spaces and everything. So if you click this little button down here, you can see that it formats for you, so it gets much easier for you to read. So this is something that you're going to use quite a lot if you're dealing with receiving data and having to parse them. And in this timing tab, you can see then the breakdown of the network activity for this resource. And of course, you can always close this and you will go back to that list of resources. Any of those properties can be searched in this filter tab, and the results are going to show the property for each of those resources. So for instance, if we put here HTTP response, we are going to see what was the response for every single resource. You can also filter those resources and order the columns to find something specific you might be looking for. So if you're looking for something that you think it starts with A, for instance, you can just organize your columns to be in order, in the alphabetic order, or the other way around. You can also organize the file extension column, for instance. So it's going to group everything, and it's also going to be in alphabetical order. So you can find all your JPGs or all your PNGs in a big block, and you can find easily the resource that you're looking for. You can just write PNG in the filter and it's going to show you only the PNGs as well. Or if you want to filter that out because that's something you're sure you don't need but you're looking for something else, you can just filter this out by adding a hyphen just before the term. So that's actually basically it. You just have to practice a little bit, and once you're developing and you start getting errors and you have to debug them and find out why this thing that you need to put in your page is not working, you'll probably be going to this network tab anyway, and you're going to try to figure out what's going on wrong, right? Because if at the moment that you need to use a certain resource that it's not just local accessible, you're going to be interested in that. And you can use that, of course, as well to improve the performance of your page. So if you think it's taking too long, you can figure out what the hell is taking so long. And then if it's a resource that it's from one place and you can take the same resource from another source, then you might just think about changing the source of it. Or if it's an image that you're trying to get from somewhere, think about downloading the image and uploading to your own server. Little things like that, you know. That's basically it. Let me know if you have any questions more specific about them. If I forgot to mention something, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video. It really helps me with the algorithm and I really appreciate that. Yeah, I wish you all a lovely rest of day, night, or whatever, weekend, whenever you're watching me. And see you in the next video. Bye!